Okay, thank you, Bill. All right, welcome to today's webinar, Migrating from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro. I suspect many of you in the audience today have recently made the transition from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro or are looking to make the move very soon. You may have some fears or reservations about changing your mapping software, but I hope to alleviate those fears and make the migration to ArcGIS Pro a painless process with a simple, straightforward demonstration today. Okay, so what is ArcGIS Pro? It is Esri's current desktop mapping software for exploring and analyzing spatial data, creating maps, and sharing content. A few things that differ from ArcMap are that ArcGIS Pro has a similar ribbon-based look and feel as the Microsoft Office products do. And you can also store multiple maps or layouts in a single project file. Also with ArcGIS Pro, you can work in easy collaboration with ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise. Pro seamlessly contributes to the WebGIS experience. For those of you clinging to ArcMap and struggling to make the move to Pro, the sunset date for ArcMap is now less than 5 years away. This is for version 10.8.1. March 1st, 2026 is the date ArcMap and ArcGIS Desktop will stop being supported by Esri. This chart from Esri provides some more details on the ArcGIS Desktop 10.8.1 lifecycle and the levels of support until the end. At CloudPoint, we are planning to transition our clients to ArcGIS Pro by the end of next year. Once you are ready to make the move to Pro, or if you installed Pro and the software is not performing well, you may want to run this tool. It is called Can You Run It? It analyzes your computer, the operating system, hardware and software requirements, video and graphics components, and it then produces a report to show how well your system matches the minimum and recommended settings for using ArcGIS Pro. So while you might be ready to migrate to Pro, you may not really know if your computer is ready until you run this tool. One thing with ArcGIS Pro that dovetails in with ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise is user types. User types provide various capabilities to members of an organization's online portal. The users range from those who only need viewing access to those who are mobile field workers to the GIS professional, which includes the license for ArcGIS Pro. We will talk later about logging in with your online or portal user to make the connection between Pro and the online web portals. So that leads us into portal connections. To be clear, portal here means either the ArcGIS Online portal or the portal for ArcGIS portal, which is related to ArcGIS Server. Logging in with your online or portal user credentials makes the connection between ArcGIS Pro and the web portals. This allows the user the ability to access, edit, or share data and maps within an organization or across organizations. In today's webinar, we will take a look at what a GIS user migrating from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro can expect. We will get set up in Pro and explore an ArcGIS Pro project, discover where common tools and functionalities you know from ArcMap are located in Pro, and demonstrate how to share maps and data. After a poll question, we will jump right into the demonstration. So over to you, Bill, for that poll question.
Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to launch this poll real quick. Just one question here for you. What is your current level of experience with ArcGIS Pro? So we got ArcMap till the end. I've kicked the tires on Pro, but mostly use ArcMap. I mostly use Pro, but still cling to ArcMap, and I am a pro with ArcGIS Pro. Answers pouring in, looks good. Get another couple seconds here to settle down. And all right, and polling. All right, so overwhelmingly, we've got 56% say they've kicked the tires on Pro, but mostly use ArcMap. Secondary to that, we've got some ArcMap until the end and mostly use Pro, but only a couple pros with ArcGIS Pro there, Matt. So most of the people, they've kicked the tires, but they're really mostly using ArcMap still.
Okay, thanks, Bill. And I'm going to end the slideshow here and jump over into Pro. Bill, can you still see my screen?
Yep, looks good.
All right, thank you. All right, so now we'll take a closer look at ArcGIS Pro with this simple demonstration, going from the project setup to sharing content. So as we see on the initial screen here, when you open up Pro, the left side contains recent projects that I have accessed. In the middle section, you can open a blank template with or without an empty map or a catalog window. The right side contains valuable ArcGIS resources at your fingertips should you have any questions. On the bottom left, clicking on Settings will take us to the About ArcGIS Pro page, where then if we click on Options, we can then view or change any settings here. Back to the Start screen. We are going to create a new project, and we will click on the blank template with a map. We'll give the project a name, and then we can change the location where we will store the project. You have the option to create a new folder for the project. In this case, I will not. So this is going to open up our project with an empty map. Once this project opens, our next step is to sign in to a portal. This is up in the upper right corner of the project. And I must say that this is portal with the lowercase p, which this could be ArcGIS Online or the Enterprise portal uppercase P. But if the portal you want to sign into is the active portal, you can simply sign in with your credentials. If our active portal was not set, you can click on Manage Portals or switch Active Portal to change the portal that you want to sign into. Now, you do not have to do this to use Pro, but signing in will give you the ability to access web content in your map or share your content to the web. So we have an empty map and we want to add some data to it. Where can we find that data? So over on the right, we have the catalog pane, which you may remember it's similar to ArcCatalog from the old desktop software. Here you can set up connections to data sources in the databases section. This could be a file geodatabase or an enterprise geodatabase. You can also connect to a folder if your data is stored elsewhere. Maybe it's shapefiles. That can be set up here. For now, I'm going to set up a folder connection to my project folder. And then I'm going to add some data to the map from this project file geodatabase. So I'm right-clicking on the two feature classes, and I can click Add to the current map, or I could add to a new map. So one database that cannot be used in ArcGIS Pro is the Personal Geodatabase or Microsoft Access database. Pro does not recognize that format. So if you have any data in a personal geodatabase, you'll need to convert that data in order to use it in Pro. So I've added a few layers here to our map. I'm going to save that. And to demonstrate another way of adding data, another source of data is the data from the portal that you signed into. So over here on the catalog pane, I can click on the portal tab, and then I could search for any other layers that are in my portal that I might want to add to my map. Okay, moving on. Just a quick reminder that you may notice here in Pro is the ribbon interface, which looks similar to those Microsoft Office products like Word or Excel. Clicking on a tab up here at the top will reveal a new set of tools or options based on that category. So I scroll through a few here. Okay, and then speaking of different tools and functionality, we'll move on to our next section here. One of the great things about ArcGIS Pro is the ability to have multiple maps within a project. We have seen how I've added data to a map to create a map, but did you know that you can also import existing maps into a Pro project? We can do that by going to the Insert tab up here at the top and then clicking on Import Map. And I will now navigate to my folder, my project folder, and I can add in this map for the demo. Okay, so the file type of this map is an MAPX or an ArcGIS Pro map file. For the ArcMap users, you can also add MXDs to a Pro project. So I'm going to navigate here to my folder, to my MXD that I've created, and add that into the project. A couple of notes here about adding MXDs to a Pro project. One is that if your MXD is saved in layout view, then the map will be imported into Pro as a layout. If you save the map or the MXD in data view, the map will display in that fashion. Also, if you add an MXD to Pro and make any changes to the layer order, symbology, queries, labeling, anything like that, those changes are not reflected back in the original MXD. So now I'm going to quickly demonstrate how I created that MAPX file. It's very simple. If we go to our map, we will right-click on the map name, and simply go down to save as map file, and then you can navigate to where you want to save the map. The third option is to add an existing web map from your portal. So again, you click on Import Map, change it to your content in your portal, and then you could search for a web map to add into your project. Okay, symbology. If we go back to the map we imported from ArcMap, to change symbology, you can right-click on your layer, click on symbology, and that's going to open up a pane on the right. If you want to match the color scheme of this layer and match it up with the symbology that you had in a different map or a different layer, you can go to Import Symbology and then navigate. In this case, we'll navigate to an ArcGIS Pro layer file that I created. And then click Run, and that's going to change the symbology here of this zoning layer to match our other map. One other thing here with editing, and this is a difference between ArcGIS Pro and ArcMap, is that in Pro, editing is always enabled as long as you have editable layers in your map. So you do not need to start editing on a single layer like you did in ArcMap. If you have multiple editable layers in a Pro project, in a map in a Pro project, editing is automatically enabled. The editing tools are found in the Edit tab. The first one we have here is a Create tool, which is where you can create and manage your feature templates. The Modify Features tool, or the Modify Features pane, provides multiple options for editing the geometry or location of your features. Many of these tools can also be found up here in the Tools group of the Edit tab. So I'm just going to quickly select a feature on the map and make a quick edit to the attributes. And also you can find the attributes pane up here in the Edit tab. So if I quickly here change the zoning, that automatically is going to change the color here associated with that zoning type. Up here at the top left, we have the option to save our edits or discard the edits. Okay, moving on to some geoprocessing tools. Those are found in the Analysis tab There's the toolbox here, which opens up another pane there on the right, where you can then search. You can set up favorites or search for tools. Okay. Our next step is to share content to a portal. So we're going to discuss a few ways to share the content that you can create in Pro. One is by publishing to a portal, ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. You select the map from the contents pane over here on the left. And you can share this either as a web map. If we click on the share tab, we can share as a web map or a web layer, which will publish a web layer. And then this will be stored in your content of the web portal that you're assigned into. The other option here is to create a layout. So if you need to share your map in a printed form or as a PDF, you can add your map view to a layout. So we will do this by going to the Insert tab and clicking on New Layout. Here we can choose the size and orientation of our map. And then this will create the layout view here in our project. Next, we can add a map frame. Just clicking on the map frame options here. And I'm going to select my map that I want to add into this layout. So with that, you can click and drag to create your map frame. Now we can add in the typical map elements, such as a title. So I'll go under Insert. I'm going to add text. Again, click and drag on the map. And then over in our Elements pane, we can then change that text item to change what we want to say there. Next, we'll add in a legend. Again, back at the Insert tab, we'll go to Insert Legend. And again, click and drag on your map. And it adds that legend item to your layout. If we expand that legend, we can see what layers are included. We could toggle them on or off depending on if we wanted to add them to the legend. Next is the north arrow. So we can choose a north arrow to add. Again, click and drag, we add a north arrow, and of course the scale bar, many options there. Again, we'll click and drag to add our scale bar. If we want to make any changes to that, we can highlight that in the layout. That's going to show up over here in this pane, and we can change various properties of the scale bar. And we can do that for any of these elements we're adding to the map. Okay, so if you need to make any adjustments to your map, we can right-click on that map frame here in the contents and click on Activate. So this gives us the ability to either, we could zoom in or pan the map if we wanted to change the extent, things like that. When we want to go back to our layout mode, up here at the top, we can click on Layout. That takes us back in to our layout. And finally, we're ready to share the layout. So we go to the Share tab. Here we have the option to print the layout or export the layout. And if we go to export, we can choose, in this case, different file types. I'm going to choose a PDF. and then we can choose to save that. We can navigate to where we want to save that file. Okay, so I'm going to head back to my slideshow here. And I want to just, throw this up there. Any questions that you may have, we can get to those now, or I can get with you later via email. So, Bill, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think we got a couple here, guys, folks. If you want to stay on, I know we're getting right up at 11:30, but we do record all these webinars just so everybody knows, and everybody who attended or signed up, I will send you a recording of that. So, but we do have a couple here. This one we might have kind of covered. How does project relate to MXD?
Okay, so as I demonstrated, you can bring in an MXD into a pro project. If you make any changes to that map that you've imported, that's all fine and good in the pro project, but your original MXD is not going to be affected by that. So it kind of breaks. There's no link to that original MXD once you import it. So that's I guess what I can say about that question.
Another one here. Can you save an APRX file to MXD format?
I'm not aware of that process, because I'm thinking I don't think that's the intention that Esri has, to go backwards. So I think once you have your pro project, which can contain multiple maps, I don't know of a way that you're going to be backwards compatible with ArcMap. So I think it's kind of looking forward here with the pro project, doing everything you can in pro eventually.
Okay. Oh, great. Let's go ahead and do one more, guys. I know some folks have been sending some questions in right now, but in the essence of time, we're going to save those and we'll get back to you directly. Matt I've got everything saved here, guys. So, but let's just do this last one real quick. Is there versioning in Pro?
Yes, there is. So it's there's traditional versioning. It's how you have your database set up, your enterprise database. You could set that up with traditional versioning, and what is now and in the future is branch versioning. So both options are available, but looking to the future again, that's going to be branch versioning, which is we'll talk more about that next month with the Parcel Fabric webinar, but it's versioning on web services. Basically, it's transferring the administration of it to the cloud. So, but versioning, yes, versioning is available with Pro editing.
Yeah, that's perfect. I was going to bring that up too, Matt. Yeah. Next month with the Parcel Fabric, talking about branch versioning webinar, that'd probably be a great one for you to jump on there, guys. And then, like I said, a couple more longer questions that we'll definitely follow up with a little more in depth. But I just want to wrap things up, guys. Thank you again so much for attending today. We really appreciate the interaction, the questions. We always strive to make sure and give you guys the best content and get you as much information as possible. So any feedback is always welcome. You can go ahead, you can get a hold of Matt directly. You can get a hold of myself as well. Also just our general website, cloudpointgeo.com/contact. I just sent to you guys. You can always fill out the little form there and we'll be in touch. But like I said, thanks again for coming. We record all these, so I'll make sure and follow up with everybody. You get a recording of that. And we hope to see you real soon. Hope to see you at the next webinar. Thanks a lot, guys.